and welcome to another week of the Scott Ballard Show right here on the Warrior Sports Network. I'm Corey Padella, joined by head coach Scott Ballard. And Coach, probably couldn't have asked for a better weekend. Two of your biggest rivals and two big wins, both by double digits over Minnesota State Mankato on Saturday, and then before that over Concordia St. Paul. Yeah. How happy were you with your team's performance?
Well, Corey, it was a fun weekend, to say the least. But it was refreshing and fun for a number of reasons. One, it was finals week, and our kids, had a lot on their plate with finals and preparing for two quality opponents and two teams that are really different from each other, but they're really good at what they do. Concordia is a big team inside and have preseason player of the year in Annika Whiting. So they've got a tremendous go-to player, and then they've got some jet-quick guards on the perimeter that can really get in your space defensively, and then they can dribble drive you off the bounce. So that's a lot to try to contain inside and outside. And then the second night against Mankato, speed team, a lot of depth, a lot of balance. They rotate 12 kids. It's really a challenge for your players to keep track of personnel changes as substitutions occur on both sides. But we did a really good job both nights of controlling tempo and taking care of the basketball, making plays late in the shot clock or at crucial times of the game, finishing the game strong by being money at the free throw line. Holding our own on the boards, developing balance offensively, making adjustments as the game went along. So, we only played 9 people in both the games this past weekend, and that's something that, early in a season against that caliber competition, we felt like those 9 players were the ones that are most prepared for that, mentally, physically, skill-wise. But we do want to develop our depth more as the season progresses, and there'll be opportunities, to get more players in the game as we go along.
You mentioned some of the go-to players for your opponents, but for yourselves, the go-to player was probably Tara Roloffs this week with 2 awesome balanced games with 22 points on Friday, 21 points on Saturday. You always, even last year, you saw flashes from Tara Roloffs, but it seems like this is kind of her coming out party. We can really see what she could do.
It's early. We see a high ceiling with Tara. We know that she's capable of that. The biggest improvement that we've seen with Tara, though, this year over a year ago, is mentally. She's mentally tougher. She's playing better defense, so she can stay out there on the floor longer periods of time. But we've known that she's a really good shooter, not just from three-point land, but she's money from 15 feet in on her mid-range jumper. And with all of our guards, when we play Concordia, we stress it's important to not get too close to the rim because they have shot blockers. And, they're either going to make you change your shot or block your shot, so you're better off taking a 12, 15-foot shot rather than trying to get, 6 to 8 feet. And the first half, we, Connor especially, the first half got in a little bit too deep with some of her drives, and so did Alexis Foley. But second half, our guards really did a good job of pulling up. And then against Mankato, for different reasons, but the same shots were what we were looking for on the perimeter against their defense because they have such quick help. Anytime you put the ball on the floor, throw it in the lane, their recovery is really good. But we did a really good job of attacking the lane either with post play or dribble drives and then setting people up on the perimeter. And then the second half of both games we shot really well from the perimeter and opened up a cushion to work with going inside the last 3 minutes of both games and forcing them to have to foul, and then we made our free throws.
And you mentioned shot blocking as well. Well, it looks like you have a pretty good shot blocker of your own with Kayla Timmerman on Saturday.
Exactly.
6 blocks for her.
Yeah.
What has she brought defensively, and then as your team in general in team defense?
We felt like we learned a lot about ourselves this past weekend because of the type of teams that we played each night. We didn't start Kayla and Hannah this weekend for different reasons. But defensively, we got a lot out of Katie Zepsic and Emily Worth. They did a good job of setting a tone on the defensive end. And then Kayla, like you mentioned, was a force on the defensive end and rebounding factor for us. She blocked 6 shots herself. Most of them, maybe all of them, were in the second half. Not only did she block 6 shots, but she probably changed that many other shots, which that can be intimidating.
Mm-hmm.
And she was matched up with someone that was not a big threat from the perimeter, so we just kind of had her play one-man zone middle of the lane and challenge guards that came driving in, and then be a shot blocker and help on the other post player and gang up on them. So that was a big factor for us and caused Mankato to take some hurried shots, some rush shots, maybe some lower percentage shots, and force them to have to take maybe some shots a little farther out with the hand in their face. So it all added up into a lot of positive things happening for us, and some things for us to build on.
Yep. And you're 8-1 right now, 4-1 in the NSIC. Great start to the year. You got one more game left in 2014 this Saturday as you travel to Upper Iowa. You've already seen them once this year. So what do you expect in that game?
Well, they didn't play us any zone the first time, and they played quite a bit of zone this past weekend, and so I anticipate seeing some zone this second time around. That first time we played them, they shot 34 free throws. It was a quick whistle game. We were very frustrated that they got that many attempts from the free throw line. Every game starts out tied at 0-0, and they made a run at us late in the second half to make the score closer. But they're a dangerous team. I mean, we lost over there last year. They took Mankato into overtime last Friday. Life on the road is challenging, and we've given our players 3 days off since last Saturday. We'll come back Wednesday, practice, and then Thursday, Friday, and then go over to Fayette on Saturday to play. But we can't relax or take anything for granted just because we had a great weekend last weekend. What's over's over. With what's happened now, with us getting off to a good start, is that we're starting to show up on other people's radar, and they're going to respect us more than they did when they came out with the coaches poll. So they know that we're for real, and people are going to start preparing for us, more, maybe more seriously, and they're gonna bring a better effort and focus and make it more challenging for us. So we've got to be ready, to accept that challenge and just try to continue to get better every week, every game, despite what defense people throw at us. And then, like I mentioned earlier, we want to develop our depth more too.
Mm-hmm. All right, so your next challenge then will be Saturday down in Fayette, Iowa against Upper Iowa, 4 p.m. tip-off for the final game of 2014. So it should be a good time, and then you get a little holiday break too. So happy holidays to you, happy holidays to everyone, and we'll see you in a couple weeks right back here on the Scott Ballard Show on the Warrior Sports Network.